Hello and welcome to the Street Crime UK YouTube channel. Please don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Today we look at the jealous boyfriend who has been jailed for life after he brutally murdered his partner moments after having sex with her because he thought she had cheated on him, a court has heard. Drink and drug-fueled Carl Chadwick, 35, was sentenced to a minimum term of 25 years after he strangled Sarah Keith, 26, with a dressing gown cord and stabbed her in the heart. Leeds Crown Court heard he launched the savage assault as revenge because he thought Miss Keith had cheated on him while he was in prison. It was not confirmed in court either way whether this was the case. Mr. Chadwick armed himself with the dressing gown cord before having sex with his partner, it was heard. Afterwards, he positioned himself behind Miss Keith and, as she got to her feet, he quickly put the cord behind her neck and strangled her. To ensure the woman was dead, he then got a knife from the kitchen and stabbed her 5 times in the heart. After concluding the heinous attack, it was heard Mr. Chadwick covered her body with a curtain, watched pornography and took cocaine. The killer intended to flee, but ended up wandering Leeds for a number of hours the next day before handing himself into West Yorkshire Police. Mr. Chadwick, who admits murder, appeared in the dock at Leeds Crown Court ahead of his sentencing later in the day. Jonathan Sharp, prosecuting, said Mr. Chadwick has a long-standing history of drug and alcohol misuse and became convinced that Miss Keith had been unfaithful to him. The prosecutor said on this basis he developed a settled intention to kill her, thinking about it, on his own account, several times a week. Sarah was, of course, oblivious to this and their relationship continued. The court heard how the murder took place after the couple had been out drinking at a pub in Leeds. They remained there all afternoon and evening and continued drinking at a friend's house after closing time, but before Miss Keith's flat at around 1 AM. The defendant said he had 6 or 7 pints and also brought a double whiskey every time he went to the bar at the pub. Mr. Sharp said the couple were both well in drink by the time and Mr. Chadwick had taken cocaine. He said once home and after the defendant had viewed some pornographic material on his phone, the defendant instigated sexual intercourse with Sarah. The court heard they moved from the bedroom to the living room where Mr. Chadwick put a duvet down on the floor. Mr. Sharp continued, as they made this move, the defendant took her dressing gown cord and hid it behind his back, saying to himself, "I'm going to do this." He positioned himself so he was behind Sarah, in a position where she could not see what he was about to do. The fatal attack took place after they had sex. Mr. Sharp said, as Sarah got up, she did not have good balance and the defendant was aware of this. He quickly put the cord around her neck and began strangling her. The absence of defense injuries on her shows that she was taken completely off guard and was unable to put up any resistance. He decided to ensure her death by getting a knife from the kitchen and stabbing her to the heart 5 times. The condition of the body post-mortem indicated that she was still alive when he did this. Mr. Sharp said Mr. Chadwick formed the intention of running away to Blackpool. He added, however, after some aimless wandering around the centre of Leeds, he then handed himself in at Ellen Road shortly after 3 PM. He made comprehensive admissions to the desk staff and later in a formal interview. The police went to the flat and their observations confirmed the accuracy of Mr. Chadwick's admissions. Following his arrest, Mr. Chadwick pleaded guilty to murder, but he denies that there is sexual motive to the killing. Mr. Chadwick gave evidence before the court. He said, "I am really sorry for what has happened. I did love Sarah, no matter what people heard or see in this case. She did a lot for me, and so did her family. I just want to express that I am deeply sorry for what I have done." In the heartbreaking victim impact statement read out in court, Sarah's father, Andrew Keith, said their family were left broken following the brutal murder. Mr. Keith said Sarah's daughter Emma was unable to understand what happened and still asked if she was going to get better until her ashes were returned to the family. The statement read to the court by prosecutor Jonathan Sharp. Mr. Keith said, "Carl, what you have done has broken my family apart. We are all broken, especially Emma, Sarah's daughter. You have broken her heart. She does not understand what has happened. Until her ashes were returned to us, she asked if her mum was going to get better. She could not understand that her mum was not getting better and would not be coming home to see her." Mr. Chadwick and Miss Keith had been in a relationship for 4 years, the court heard. During that time, Mr. Chadwick had been controlling and violent towards her. Mr. Keith said, "We thought you were a nice bloke. Over the time you spent with our daughter, the truth came out. We are heartbroken and devastated that our daughter was taken from us in the way that she was. We are all so lost without Sarah, and struggling without her being with us. She was loved and will be missed by her daughter, family and friends. Jailing Mr. Chadwick, Judge Jeffrey Marson QC said, "The victim personal statement speaks of the loss of Sarah's family have suffered. You have destroyed the lives of Sarah's family, and for them, it is a life sentence. They will never be able to forget what you did in taking the life of someone they loved and valued so very much." So what are your thoughts about Carl Chadwick and this shocking case where he took the life of his loving girlfriend, Sarah Keith, in a vicious, unprovoked attack? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, stay safe.